All right, something really strange. Really weird. All right, I'm not sure what's going on there tonight, buddy. Something really, really strange going on there. Yeah, no music, no audio, no hope. What the fuck? Let's see if you got anything here. If we can pick up any audio from you.
Ball sack.
All right, the ball sack's working. All right. Well, I don't know. Something really went weird there tonight. I was playing what I thought was a song on there, and it just didn't play tonight. How freak
Well,
is that?
that's kind of bullshit.
I mean, the audio is working now, but I don't know what was going on there. I mean, I was trying to get the song to play. It just didn't want to fucking play tonight. I don't know. We'll try it again later. We were
Yeah.
playing a tune by called Cartoon Nation by a band. Oh,
Did you
something
hear
going on
that?
there. Yeah, I could hear that, but it's like it's choppy.
That's
It's
because I was
choppy.
turning it off and on.
No, I think it's because yeah, maybe, but I think it's because you're not set up as a chief broadcaster. Maybe, I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. One of those weird things with I keep getting the notification here, Get Pro. I talked to a guy last week on there. They go, "Oh no, we don't block the features of the pro version except some of the audio stuff. Everything else works." I'm like, "Okay, I don't know about that. I don't know. Right now, I give this software a 6 out of 10. So, not super happy about it, but it's what it is. So, you got something to share with us tonight, Bob?
Well, the big news, of course, is Elon Musk buying Twitter outright. The entire world is going nuts. I just think it's funny that the reaction we're getting. Yeah,
some people saying
it's
this.
crazy.
Some
But,
people saying this, sure.
Social media plays such an important role in independent musicians and artists that I'm just wondering if somebody was on Twitter and got off Twitter because they didn't like the censorship stuff, or somebody who was on Twitter and just got off because they don't like Elon Musk. It'd be interesting to see the dynamics of what's going on as far as the independent artist is concerned.
Yeah, there's some I guess there's something to be said for, what some people are terming a change in free speech, because it's long been known that social media platforms are definitely doing censorship.
Right.
We know that, I watched some of the Senate hearings with Mark Zuckerberg. Did you see some of those?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're interesting, right? And they talk to him about censorship and, oh no, we don't do that, and we don't do this, and we don't do that. But and then people talk about shadow banning. What's shadow banning? Do you know what that is?
It's shadow banning is where they will throttle down the response to your posts. Okay. Like say you've got like 100,000 followers on Twitter, and they don't like your ideology or whatever, but you haven't really done anything to violate their terms of service. What they'll do is they'll dial down the engagement. So if you have 100,000 listeners and you normally get maybe 5,000 retweets or engagements with your post, and all of a sudden you're getting 5, that's kind of a shadow ban there.
That gives me a better understanding of it, because people were talking about that, and they were saying that there's no evidence now of shadow banning since Elon Musk took over, because they're getting all these responses to tweets and stuff.
Yeah, I don't think he's had the company long enough to actually dig into the internal workings of their algorithms and stuff like that. So I don't know if that's just I don't know. I can't see the employees jumping on board right away with getting rid of that kind of stuff.
It makes you wonder if there's an IT jockey that's looking at going, okay, we don't want the new boss to be all over us for doing overly censoring people. So maybe we're going to start throttling things back so that, it doesn't look too obvious to the boss when he takes over.
That's a good possibility. They locked down their code when the process of Musk taking over the company. They did lock down the code so nobody could go in and detonate the Twitter code. So it's just an interesting dynamic, and it has a lot to do relating to independent artists, because most that I know survives on social media as their only way to promote themselves.
Yeah, social media for a lot of bands and a lot of artists has been a really great way to showcase themselves. I see some people taking advantage of even using TikTok now to do like short little, 60-second clips or whatever to put samplings of their music up. People using the Reels version of Instagram. I've been fucking around with that lately. The Reels version on Instagram. I've done. My dog's got a profile on Instagram.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my golden retriever's got a spot on Instagram, and I've got a couple of dog models who are actually after me now to put pictures of my dog up on their site. So
crazy.
Who knows? Maybe my dog will make more money for me than my record label.
I've been trying to understand Reels and stories. I turned to my son for that advice, because he totally does it all the time. So I got to use his tutoring to learn how to do that stuff.
Oh, I'll see if I can. Oh, I might have something that I can share, but I don't know if it'll work tonight or not on here. But I take videos of my dog and pictures of my dog, and he has profile shots, and I change those almost daily on Instagram. And a lot of them are from the back of his head, wherever he's looking that particular moment in time.
Now you get a group of those together and you create a story.
Yeah, but I mean, it's interesting how people are using, social media like Twitter and Instagram. Some people are actually figuring out how to use LinkedIn as well as a way to network.
Really?
You laughed when I said that, but it's interesting because I've made a lot of contacts through LinkedIn.
Yeah, I never did use LinkedIn correctly, and I was trying to use it as a social media thing, and it's not. No. So I just put LinkedIn way in the background. Steve is joining us in the chat. So Steve Sundgren.
What's Steve got to say there? Steve, how's it going, man? It's going, buddy. It's going well. I see you guys are busy gigging, and the band's keeping busy. Actually, they were playing up near Oshkosh, up in your neck of the woods at some point.
Really?
Yeah.
What band are we talking about? I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with.
A Baden's End.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Wow. Cool.
They're coming up to play in your area. So we jumped off talking about the Elon Musk purchase, and some people look at it as a hostile takeover. But I mean,
yeah, I think it's totally not. I had to correct somebody earlier today about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a hostile takeover. He offered them a fair market price for Twitter, and the board had to take it back.
Yeah, he actually had him in checkmate, which I think is great. But yeah, it was a premium offer, and the board couldn't turn it down.
Yeah, and they'd be negligent not to take the offer back to the shareholders and say, "Hey, what do you think?" Right?
Yeah.
And some of the shareholders are actually happy that Musk purchased it because they believe that their shares are going to go up.
Right. And I think it had been trending up today. And getting back to how it relates to independent artists and do-it-yourself artists, I think a lot of them were tired of the toxicity of Twitter, because it had gotten so horrible, and it doesn't matter which side of the aisle or ideology that you hold. It's just when you get on Twitter to promote your band, you don't want any bullshit. And that's what it was turning into.
Yeah, Twitter had actually become, a place for people to, sort of mouth off at one another and spew some really toxic junk, no matter where they stood on any issue.
Right.
And I saw everything. I mean, literally everything in the last few months, from not just the pandemic stuff, not just the political stuff, but even the Kardashians, people bashing. The Kardashians. If you can run a show for 20 seasons, then some people must see some value in what you're doing.
Evidently. And you know what? If you don't like it, don't watch it.
Yeah, if you don't like it, you don't watch it. And it's the same as if you don't like my tweet, as long as my tweet isn't disrespectful, then you don't have to follow me and you don't have to pay attention to it.
Keep scrolling. I don't understand why people fixate on wanting to get into an argument with somebody on a social media platform. If it's not your cup of tea, keep scrolling. Who gives a shit?
Treat it like white noise. Here's the value that I believe that bands are missing out on, not utilizing the power of Twitter. The great thing about Twitter is that now, what is it, 200 and some odd characters now, right? What's the max? Is it 220?
Something like that. Yeah. It's way above 140.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, Musk wants to make it 420. Seriously. Here's an interesting fact too. He has Asperger's, right?
But I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. But he's a brilliant man. The guy is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. And, he's a functioning autism.
Yeah, and I'm waiting to see what he does with Twitter. But the great thing about Twitter is that you can put something out in just a few short sentences and you can speak volumes.
Yeah, exactly. And you had to, with the 140 character limit, you had to be very articulate with trying to get across your idea. I thought that was a great challenge. I really enjoyed Twitter when I first joined it, but like I say, the last few years, I hardly ever on there. Andy McNamara says, I'd have to agree. If you didn't have to promote things, you'd love not to have any social media. And, social media can be a very big pain in the ass.
Yeah. And I agree. I agree with Andy 100%. If I didn't have to promote things, I'd love not to have social media. On my personal Facebook, I've trimmed down the number of friends, and I keep trimming down the number of so-called friends on Facebook, because even during like the pandemic and all the stuff that's going on here in Canada, people have gotten really toxic. And I've just
yeah, who needs that in your life?
Yeah, I got enough other things to worry about without somebody bashing me. And I, a couple of times I fell into the trap and posted my thoughts on there, and then people started crucifying me for voicing my own opinion on something. Right.
Well, that's stupid.
And I would even qualify it and said IMO, right? In my opinion.
Yeah.
Right. And like my brother always said, I got an older brother, and he always said opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one.
Fucking with my other camera here.
But
and as long as I can tell fart jokes on Twitter, I'm good.
Yeah. And you know what? I saw that somebody, who was it that posted the fart joke? You had it posted on your Facebook, but somebody
I took a screenshot of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody posted, I farted on Twitter.
Yeah. And the guy's got over 1 million followers, and he gets all kinds of engagement. I post something like that and I get like 0 engagement. Not that I'm not going to go out and shoot myself over it, but
is that because a lot of people have been sitting downwind from you?
Yeah. Everybody is south of me.
There we go. So the Twitter thing, hashtags. What do you think about hashtags?
Hashtags are very vital.
Right. And what do you think bands should be thinking about, or artists should be thinking about hashtagging?
There's a category you can find out which hashtags are trending and which hashtags are really popular. I would stick with the popular hashtags, like independent music or independent artists is a real popular, hashtag, and people will pay attention to that. And anything having to do with music, hashtag guitar, hashtag, vocals, whatever. anything that's relevant to what you're doing. And there's very popular hashtags, and especially on Instagram.
Yeah, I had some really good luck inviting artists into groups on Twitter.
Did you?
So yeah, so you know how you can pull people into groups, and they can
Yeah,
decide whether they want to be there or not. But the reason I did it was to try to get artists interacting with one another.
that's networking, and
Yeah,
that's
I
a good
think
idea.
I almost wonder if we should think about maybe you guys doing something over where you are, and maybe me doing something down in this area, and we do some sort of a music expo, like an independent music expo,
Huh? That would be interesting.
where you get artists together and maybe get somebody to maybe host around. Like Andy would be a good guy to Andy and you would be really great at doing some sort of hosting of some show like that, where you invite people to a forum, and you could have sessions on songwriting, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I like the networking idea.
Yeah, I think a music expo is something that is time is right, because a lot of people are doing a lot of writing, a lot of releasing of music. You and I talked last week about when we talked last week, and I talked about that Ed Sheeran case where he won that lawsuit against him for The Shape of You, and talking about the 60,000 songs a day being published on Spotify, and how fast your music can find itself to the bottom of the pile.
I've been thinking about that, and trying to overcome the noise will drive you crazy. So what you got to do is find out, I think, my opinion, you got to find a niche or a section and just stick to that. Don't try to be a world beater. Just find a comfort zone for your music and try and dominate that field. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I mean, what do people think out there? Let's if you got something to say about it, let's hear you in the chat there. You want to just restate that one more time?
Well, it's overwhelming when you look at the numbers, like you were saying, the Spotify numbers and stuff like that, and you think, well, good God, how am I going to compete with that? You don't really have to compete with that. You just got to find the section of people, or I don't want to use the word demographic. You want to find a section of people who are into what you're doing, your genre, your methodology of recording or whatever, and just communicate with those people and win over that market a little bit at a time. And don't worry about, getting a million Spotify plays.
Yeah, I think the other thing is about trying to build an organic following.
Right. Yeah.
One thing that I always warn people against when they start, coming to me to publish music is, I look at how many followers they have on social media. And then I look at how many of those followers are actually engaged with what they're doing on social
Right.
media. And then I go, are you really ready to release your music? I know you're ready, and you've recorded it and you want to get it out there, but how are you going to get engagement with your music if you've got 49 followers?
Right. There's
Right?
a band, there's a band on Twitter called Metal Birds out of Texas.
Yeah.
And they engage with all the other bands that follow them. And I mean, on a regular basis, every week there's a tweet, and they include their handle and all that stuff. And so they have built a really nice organic following that engages every time they post. And of course, you've got to return the favor. You got to engage on their post. It's a two-way street, but bands like that are being more successful on the social media channels.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at Twitter and go back to that whole engagement piece on Twitter, it's about, using hashtags, using these one-liners. I always think of Twitter as, if you had 30 seconds on the elevator with the president of the company, what are you going to say to them? You only got a chance to say 2 or 3 sentences to that person.
Yeah. You want a hand
Right?
job?
There you go. And you want to make that it counts. So I always think of taglines. Taglines are always really good.
Yeah.
And what do you want to be known for as a
Right.
band or artist? So you can use a tagline. Now I started doing hashtags of artist music when we launched, artist music. So if the name of the song, and I hashtag the name of the song, if there's already a hashtag out there, and sometimes there's a hashtag out there already with the name of the song. So now that song goes up there with all the other stuff that's been hashtag under that same name. Right.
Huh. Right.
So,
Yeah.
so
Once in a while you run into that.
yeah, the most recent one was when Coaching for Sarah released Brown Recluse Spider. So I hashtagged Brown Recluse Spider, put it out there, and it went, to a whole bunch of different things. It went to a whole bunch of different tags of brown recluse spider, and the song was up with pictures of brown recluse spider. It was, it was
Yeah.
in conversations about brown recluse spiders, but the song got out there a little bit more, and I think it helped, bring a little more notice to the song itself by hashtagging it as such.
Sure. But you don't want to go too far outside of your genre, because I've seen people do that with say a celebrity killed themselves and it was a hashtag so and so RIP, and they'll promote their stuff using that hashtag. I think, oh, that's wrong.
Oh yeah, that's in bad taste, actually.
That's terrible. So yeah,
Yeah.
you don't want to get overzealous with that.
I saw people doing that on Twitter a couple of days ago. Somebody passed away, and there were like a million freaking tweets, and people were posting inappropriate stuff on it, right?
Yeah.
And then I saw other comments where people were going, that's just rude and that's disrespectful. Like, that's not what the tweet is about.
Yeah. And you're not going to win over any fans that way.
No,
There's no way.
Now, how many Twitter bots do you think are out there?
A ton. And that's a big problem too, that I think are going to be revealed. All these celebrities and politicians and people who are verified probably have more bots than they have real followers.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is that I think Musk wants to get rid of those bots. That was one of his, one of his pet peeves was the getting rid of the bots, because he wants people actually interacting. And he said, I hope that people don't leave Twitter who disagree with me, because if people disagree with me, that's good.
Right.
He thinks it's important to have it. Yeah, he thinks it's healthy to have a dialogue with people that even disagree with you, and I agree with that 100%. Like, I don't see an issue with that.
As long as you keep it civil,
Yeah, keep it civil, keep it respectful, keep the conversation respectful between you, and go from there. You don't have to
agree to disagree if you don't.
I was a teenage bot. I used to be a werewolf, but I'm all right. No,
I wanted to get to these next couple of things before we start jerking off here.
All right.
Let's now this article here. I'll run through this article real quick. This article is oversimplified, and I don't believe in people stating the obvious. That kind of drives me nuts. So here it was. The article was called "What to Do Now That Things Are Starting to Open Up." 4 things every musician should know before they go on tour. This has to do with playing live, obviously. First of all, there was only 3 things on here. So obviously plan your budget, set your schedule in advance, and book all your venues. Obvious stuff. But what I gleaned from this is a couple of apps that look really interesting. The first one is called, what is it called? Road Trip. Now, if you're in the van and you're traveling with the band, this thing will keep track of all your expenses and kind of let you know where the trends are going. It'll keep track of your maintenance. It'll keep track of all of the fiduciary stuff that goes with being on the road, all in one handy little app. So I thought that was pretty cool. All I have are iPhone screenshots. So that's a cool app. That's a good idea if you're going on the road and you want to get in the van and maybe utilize this to help you budget your money a little bit better. It'll tell you where you're spending too much or whatever, or where you could save money too. The second app I'm not really sold on. The second app is called Mule. And what it is, it's the information sharing app for bands.
Oh man, you had
Everybody
me
gets
scared. You had me scared for a
huh?
minute. Band mule, like what they do with drug mules.
Yeah, well, I think they're playing off of that word.
You had me scared.
Anyway, a calendar. So a guy in charge of the scheduling marks something on his calendar, and then everybody else gets it. So everybody's on the same page. The private chat thing, well, that's what Messenger is for, but it's got a private chat, and you can share set list among other things. So I thought those were two pretty cool, interesting apps.
Don says, before leaving on tour, pack a lot of underwear and socks, air freshener for dirty ass farts.
Well, yeah, that's just,
That's kind of a given, isn't it?
Yeah, because the problem is when you're on tour, when you're on the road, the food you eat is not ideal. It's usually a 7 a.m. burrito at 7-Eleven, and the results are disastrous if you're in a tight pack situation. So
there was one pub we used to play. I used to play with a couple of guys. We had a three-piece thing going on for a while, and we would always get done at about, I don't know, 2:30 in the morning, and we would end up at this Denny's and have breakfast at like 4:00 in the morning.
Right.
A great big bacon and egg hash brown breakfast before you go to bed. Yep, that's good.
Yeah. And you know what's weird is musicians usually stay skinny. They eat like shit, but you stay skinny, I guess, because you burn it off every night. But once you quit touring, then you got to be careful. You can't eat like that anymore.
I wonder how many people, artists actually gained weight during COVID.
I bet a lot.
Right?
That would be a good topic for another night.
Yeah, it's how much did you gain? How much weight did you gain during the pandemic? Right?
Oh shit.
Interesting stuff tonight. So you so what do you think about those, like having an app to track what you're doing as a band? You think that would definitely help you keep track of expenses?
Right.
Right.
I think that road trip app is a good idea. Even if you don't use that one, it's a good idea to have a very clear picture of your budget so that you're not running into any surprises, down the road. And, you might have to put away a little bit of money in case you get a flat tire, which everybody does.
I like the idea of the chat thing. If the chat thing is real-time chat, which would be really good, is if sometimes there's one guy or there's a business guy that's doing all the negotiation for the band, and he's also not only negotiating the price, but he's negotiating any riders that come along with it, right?
Right. Yeah.
So, if the drummer says, like I want a fan. Right?
At least one fan.
Yeah, at least one fan. Maybe it might be the only fan they see all night, but at least have one fan cooling them during the night, right? I think that, one thing that I hadn't seen happen for a lot of bands is them actually setting themselves up as a business.
Yeah.
And
that's a tough thing, because when you do something like that, you're pretty much committing yourself to this project.
Yeah, I think the bands that are incorporating themselves now, down in the States, that's called LLC or something like that, right?
Right. Yeah.
And that's an actual incorporation of the band, right? So they'd have a seal and everything, wouldn't they? And the cool thing about corporation is if you're starting to make a lot of money, there's different ways you can write that money down so that it's not all personal income.
Yeah. You get money back at the end of the year.
Yeah, and it's a great way. It's a great way also to ensure that you're able to write down all of your expenses, right down to the guitar strings. I mean,
Uh-huh.
you got guitar players who will change strings between shows
Right.
because they sweat like crazy and the guitar strings are fucked after the show, so it's time to switch out
Drumsticks,
strings.
drum heads, all
Sticks,
that
heads.
stuff you need to write off, I think, because it's part of the expense of doing business. Uh, an interesting point here is, what if a band were to file as what they call a 5013 nonprofit?
Oh, did somebody post that in the chat? Because I'm not seeing it.
No, that came off the top of my
Oh, if
head.
they went with a not, yeah. So how does that work?
Uh, you could make a profit. I mean, you could pay everybody and you
Right.
could pay expenses, and you can declare your expenses on your tax. I don't know how that would work. I've never heard of a band filing for a nonprofit, although most bands are nonprofit.
Well, and you can file. I know you can file as a nonprofit, and nonprofits can actually make so much money. There are some tax laws in terms of how
Right.
much money they actually can make. I know that the IRS in the states and Revenue Canada here can tell you exactly what that is, and there's some rules in their websites where you can actually search that information. And if you can't find it, you've got members of Congress in the states who can help you with that information. You can go to your local representative's office and they can point you in the right direction for that. And I know we can do the same thing here for local MPs and people that represent us in Parliament. So I know that it's possible to register as a not-for-profit and still make a profit.
Right.
It
Uh,
sounds weird, but
a
it's
bit of
true.
irony here was, I was looking into taking Code Zero Radio into a nonprofit status,
Right.
and I found out it was going to cost me $500. Like, well, I'm filing for a nonprofit. I don't have any money. How am I
That's
supposed to be able to afford that?
that's your registration fee, right?
Yeah.
And that's something you might be able to do down the road if you make some money off enough of your merch. Who knows, right? You got a cool merch store going on there. I'm actually envious of your merch store.
Oh man, it's doing great. It was a pleasant surprise. Let me add that.
Yeah. Just going back quickly again to this app. So the cool thing about it is being able to track things, being able to have like an ongoing chat where you're negotiating set lists with other band members, that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And you said the first app. What was the first app called? Because you said you liked it the best of the two.
It's called Road Trip.
Right, Road Trip, kind of cool. I Band Mule was the one that stuck with me, but it didn't sound as
Right.
good as Road Trip. So my vote's on Road Trip, just based on the features that you explained about it. If you've got that on there, you can post it down in the chat, Bob. The link to it, if people want to look it up for themselves.
Link my asshole.
Very
What
cool.
did
Road Trip,
let me
and
get rid of
Band
that.
Mule.
Get rid of that. I was trying to share my screen. Yeah, I'll put those up in the chat so you
Yeah,
guys
that'd
can
be
look
cool.
at it.
That'd be cool if anybody wants to look at it and follow it on over there. So the thing that I talked to you about earlier, I'm gonna see if I can find it on here now. It disappeared, so now I gotta pull it back up here. Oh, wait a minute, maybe I don't have to. I can just pull this over to this screen over here. I had cool thing about two screens here is that I can look at a lot of different stuff at one time, right? And then comment
Yeah.
on it. So this is a fellow that follows me. I
Marty.
follow him, and he made an interesting observation, and a lot of people posted on it. And JB won't mind me sharing this because he follows us and he's watched the show a few times. And he likes what we're doing, so I'm going to share this on the screen.
Christ's sakes.
And he says, if you ever want to really dazzle people with what a learned and incredible musician you are, Prove to them that you know what not to play and when not to play. What do you think of that?
Yep, that's I've heard that in the studio.
It's interesting. You got a lot of really, really great comments on it, and this idea of not necessarily having to prove yourself to other people, which I kind of like that idea too. I thought that was kind of a cool observation.
Yeah.
Like, if you're good at your craft, you really don't have anything to prove to other people, which I think is, a pretty true statement there.
That comes with experience. When you first
Yeah.
start out, of course, you want to be the best guitar player, the best drummer, whatever, but with experience, obviously.
Yeah, and I go back to that conversation you and I had a few weeks back with Jeremy Ober, when he said, I really pay attention to the crowd when we go in and play live, because some of the music that I thought I might play that night, just by looking at the crowd, I'm not going to play those tunes.
Yeah, that's very intelligent. And playing to your audience is very important.
Yeah, reading the crowd and knowing what to play, knowing what not to play, and also when not to play. I thought it was an interesting observation. I think I figured out my problem with the sound earlier from that track, and where I goofed up was I didn't arm that particular piece. So when I arm it, what happens is, well, it's supposed to, but it didn't do it. No, it's not even Now it's not even acting like it wants to do it. So I'm going to do it again here. Hide that, and we'll add this puppy. What happened before was when I tried to add, it's not letting me do it. It's weird.
You want me to bring it up?
It's not letting me add the track. It's so freaking weird.
Add the track.
Well, I added the track in, but when I try to enlarge it or turn it on, like arm the, like I can do that to arm that, but when I go to try to arm the track that I'm bringing in, it's not letting me arm it.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, like you can attach a file here, so we can actually listen to that song that I was telling you about, right? The
Did
song
you
by
press
Super Chucker.
A?
Did I press A? What are you talking
That's
about?
what it says.
Press A.
To add to your stream, it's got local video and presentations.
Yeah, I did. And when I it's adding it over to the left side of the screen, but when I go to click the button to open it up, it won't open up. Like I can turn your volume on or off. I can maximize you and minimize you and put me back in here. But for some reason, when I go to click on this, it's not playing that. And that's what was the problem was. In order for it to play the track to the audience, I have to arm it to Restream, and it's not letting me arm it. And I can add.
That's bullshit.
I know, and I can add and remove the source as many times as I want, and it's not going to do it. I wonder if it's doing it now because it's technically only supposed to load video files.
Well, it's doing it now because we were talking about Facebook's main competitor, Twitter.
So now they're blocking us.
They're punishing you.
I don't know. There's something funky going on there tonight. I'm not sure what it is, and I can't add. Are you able to add a track on there if I send it to you in the chat?
I could try.
All right. Well, let me.
Is it a Facebook page or a web page?
No, it's an MP3.
Oh.
You can't.
Oh, it won't let me. It won't let me do that. I can add audio. I can add a video, but I can't do MP3s.
Yeah. So when you select the video, you have to choose all files, and then it lets you load an MP3, which is really bizarre. But I've done it a zillion times, and now it won't let me do it for some reason.
That's wacky.
I know, and it's always done it. Like, and when I selected, it's an MP3, and I played MP3s on there like a whole bunch of times before, and it's always let me do it. But for whatever reason, it won't minimize or maximize or do anything it's supposed to do. So, it's bullshit. Yeah, I was playing it kind of backgroundy, but I don't know. It was weird. I can share my screen, but I can't share the song, which really sucks. But it is what it is, and it's not letting me do it tonight. But it is what it is. You got some music going there in the background? I can hear some music there playing, but it's in and out. Yeah, it's kind of in and out on my end. I don't know how it is out in the, the wherever.
So I was just playing an MP3 file.
Oh no, it's not. It's not coming through like it normally does. So I don't know. It won't let me. I don't think it's going to let me add it tonight. I'm going to try one more time and see if it lets me do it. If not, we'll talk about a couple more things and then we'll call it a night. Let me just.
I'm hungry.
You're hungry?
I'm starving, man. I didn't have dinner yet.
Oh, well then we won't make the show long tonight then, so you can have something to eat. And what I might do is come back on here and play the tune for people because I feel bad that I'm not able to play it tonight for some.
I want Donnie to take me to Shoney's.
Ungodly reason. Hey Ken, where's your marshmallow? Donnie's been smoking hash tonight, so he's
he's in all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, he's smoking hash tonight. He's asked me where my marshmallow is. My marshmallow last year, I had a little, goatee thing happening here, like a soul patch thing. And when I'd move around, he'd see the marshmallow moving around on the screen because it comes in white, right? So I kind of got that Santa Claus look when I grow facial hair anymore. Just the way that it is, right? So, going back to this whole Twitter thing, I think that the whole thing is keeping it to your taglines and develop taglines that are specific to you as an artist, right? So every time you post on Twitter, what you want is to try to get the stuff you're posting to trend, get other people to retweet it. Right. The more people that retweet it, the more it trends across Twitter, the more people see it. And then, if you got something interesting to say about music, you'll oftentimes get lots of other people retweeting what you're doing, and it will, increase your engagement in terms of the analytics. That's a cool thing I love about Twitter is you can go and look at your analytics and see how you're trending, right?
Oh yeah, if you're really into promoting on social medias, then you got to look into that stuff and you got to find out the metrics and all the analytics are there for you to look at. It took me a long time to get used to doing that. But yeah, you find out what works, what doesn't work. And I wouldn't kill myself trying to get 1,000 retweets. I would start out small. And if you get 5 or 6 in the beginning, that's a start.
Yeah, you don't need to go like stupidly crazy. It took me a long time to get a decent organic following. There's my my Twitter, and it tells you how long you've been on there. So I joined in March of 2016.
Hey, there's me and you.
Yeah, that's us. That's because we're broadcasting on Twitter as well, right?
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so we're broadcasting. We're broadcasting on Twitter and we're broadcasting on Twitch and YouTube as well as Facebook, which is kind of cool.
Well, there's a double barrel for everybody out there.
And so, I have a modest following of 3,519 followers, and I'm following 4,500 people roughly. Most of those are artists that I'm following, by the way. And then those artists will follow me back. And then it's interesting because a number of business leads that I've gotten off of Twitter is pretty astounding. Like, people find me on Twitter and they like what I've got to say about independent music, the stuff I'm posting about our artists on there. And, you can go to tweets and replies and it'll show you, a bunch of different stuff on there. And all of my shows, you'll see them. They're all there. They all pop up on there as well. Those are past old shows that we've done, and they're all archived on there, so people can go there and look them up in my Twitter feed, which is kind of cool. And that's sort of my main profile that I've got on there, and then different bits and pieces of. There's the other thing, the engagement piece. They always say short videos and photographs work really good for engaging people as well.
Oh yeah, visuals are really important.
Very. So you could do dick pics, but I don't think people would like that.
I do fart jokes mainly. That's my specialty. Fart jokes.
Those are funny. Like, some of the fart jokes you hear on here are actually quite funny. And then you got your notifications, they pop up. You can look at different stuff on there. There's all kinds of different things that you'll see on there from different people across the world of Twitter.
Dickland.
Yeah. And then it also, the thing I like about it tells you different things that are trending on Twitter.
Well, that's a problem.
There you go. The rave mums want to save EDM.
Yeah. they trend what they want you to see and not what's really trending. That's kind of a problem.
Well, now, didn't Musk promise he's going to change that?
Yeah. Well, I've heard all kinds of things, but that has been a problem. They've shut down trends when it didn't agree with them, and that's not right. It just let it fly, for crying out loud.
And I love it because people use different things on here to engage people, right? Here's one here. Who needs help promoting their new music? Drop your Spotify, YouTube, iTunes links here. So there's different radio stations that offer to do some promo and help artists get their music out in front of more people. And then there's another one. This guy posts on here, what's your favorite Dio song? And he got quite a few responses. He got 266 likes on that and 452 comments. That's not bad. That's good engagement.
That is. That's great engagement.
And so one thing I like about my feed, I've got it set up so that it's almost all independent radio that trends on mine. I'm interested in what all the independent radio networks are doing, and the independent radio stations are on there. So you'll see a lot of different ones. Bulldogs Radio, for example, Lonely Oak Radio. You'll see Code Zero in here trending as well.
Do you have any posts that you put up? Go to your post. Go to one of your posts.
Go to one of my posts?
Yeah.
Where do I go?
On your profile.
On my profile? Let's see what we got here.
Go down to a post.
I haven't done any real, interesting posts for a while. It's mostly shows on here. This is a video that I did for Acid Cell for Rec.
Now go to the little 3 bars there.
Which one?
The little 3 bars on your post.
Little 3 bars. This one here?
Yeah. Underneath your post, there's a graph.
Oh yeah, that thing. The analytics. Yeah, that got no engagement whatsoever. It really.
But that's how you get your analytics. Is you on your post, and you do your individual posts like that, and kind of see what direction you want to take your next post. If something's working, if something's not, then you want to ditch what you did there.
Yeah, you can if some posts don't do very well, you can actually go and take those and switch them up. When people ask for music, I get tagged in an awful lot of other stuff too, right? So different radio stations. I'm getting tagged in Yellowstone stuff now because we've submitted some of Ober's work to the writers of Yellowstone, hoping to get his music on the show. So the Yellowstone stuff trends in my my feeds as well. So there's a whole lot of interesting stuff you can find on Twitter, and you can spend literally a day there. I mean,
oh yeah,
There's so
Easy.
much content, right? There's so much content,
And
and go ahead.
you'll get more engagement when you tag people too.
Oh, definitely, definitely. You'll definitely get a lot more engagement that way when you tag people. So tag independent radio stations like to be tagged independently,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you're giving thanks out to one independent radio station, only tag them in your tweet. Don't tag other independent radio in your tweet. Thank them individually. Treat them as an individual station that has, given you the honor of taking your music, right? Take your music and play it and promote it for you. So find a way to thank them by tweeting. A lot of them now, some radio stations nowadays, they're not pay to play so much as they are, we will only play your music as long as you have a Twitter account.
Yeah.
And they want you to retweet when they post, they want you to subscribe to their notifications. So there is a way on here on Twitter where you can subscribe to notifications where you get notified when a radio station tweets your music out there, and they're looking for you to retweet and to send them a thank you, a public thank you on Twitter, because it helps to promote the radio station as well, right?
Right.
What do you like? Do you like people to hashtag you?
I hashtag a lot, but as far as including me in a hashtag, I don't care,
But they can include you. They can tag you on a post if the post is relevant to you.
Yeah.
Right. And I noticed that you retweet that stuff when people post something that's relevant to you and they include you in the post, you'll retweet it.
Always, because they're promoting their band and their music, and they're promoting the station. So, it's a multiplication factor that goes into that. When you retweet that, then all of a sudden 4 times as many people saw it as did originally. So
yeah, so it's kind of like you scratch my back, I scratch yours, right?
always, yeah, it goes back to the Metal Birds engaging with people and retweeting their stuff, and that's just the way Twitter works.
Well, I am not having any luck. So everybody's gonna get kind of ripped off tonight because I'm not playing any music tonight, unfortunately. But I may come back on here and play this tune by this band Super Chucker. They were kind enough to send it into the show. And if I can, I'll just quickly put it up there for you folks tonight, and you can send us mail to kenandbobshow@gmail.com.
It.
kenandbobshow@gmail.com. If you've got a track that you want us to share live on here, or if I can't, for whatever reason, the software isn't letting me play it that particular night, I'll definitely go back on and spin your track, because it's all about helping out artists. It's all about making people more aware of the world of independent music and getting it out in front of as many people as we can, right, Bob?
Yep. It's the whole idea.
So for me, Ken at Indie Tunes, and for you, Bob Minter at Code Zero Radio, I got nothing else tonight.
Got nothing.
I got nothing. What do you think?
Yeah, the important stuff I think we covered tonight, the whole Elon Musk thing, utilizing social media and giving artists some tools that they can use in case they're going out on the road, which seems to be happening more and more. And that's a great thing. Oh, by the way, the Mile of Music just released their first 50 artists on the 26th.
Oh, wow. The Mile of Music. And I'm still waiting to see what happens here with all this cross-border travel bullshit, because I would love to come up there for the Mile of Music. You got a couch for me, don't you?
Yep.
All right. That's good.
Just strap some 6-shooters on your hips and say, I'm coming through, fuckers.
Yeah. I'll probably land myself in jail there.
Yeah, there's no such thing as bad publicity, right?
That's true. That's true. We got some new music coming out in the next little while from our friend Doug Vardy's a London, Ontario staple. And we're going to have him on the show at some point in time. We did get a hold of Marshall Potts, and we're going to be getting him up on the show as well.
Interesting.
Yeah. And we're also going to get Brent Dorner on the show. Did you ever hear of the rock band called Helix, Canadian rock band called Helix?
Yeah.
So Brian was one of the original lead guitar players for Helix, and he's toured all over the world with the band. He has a couple of gold albums and a platinum album to his name. And Brent and his brother Brian, who's a drummer, have teamed up, and they have a band called My Wicked Twin. They're putting out their fourth album. And they're coming over to Indie Tunes Records for their publishing.
Cool.
So pretty cool stuff happening in the next little while with us. We got some new music coming out by like Coaching for Sarah. I know He Said, She Said's got another single coming out. So lots of new music in this neck of the woods. And you got a new music show every Monday.
Well, yeah, it's I feature the new artist on Mondays and Thursdays.
Now, are these artists that have never been featured on your show before?
No, there's some returning artists.
Okay.
But mostly it's like an 80-20 thing. But if somebody that's submitted before and been featured and they submit again, I have no problem featuring, because their music is in the rotation 24/7 and it's available for request. So you can always be heard on Code Zero Radio.
And then go over to Code Zero Radio, look it up on Google, or you can get it at codezero.com, right?
live.codezeroradio.com. Download the app. Don't be a sap.
There you go. And you guys got some more shows this week yet?
Oh, we got some great shows. I'll be co-hosting on Fox Cities Core this Saturday morning. That's 9 p.m. 9 a.m. Saturday Central.
That's 9 a.m. your time.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So that's like 8 a.m. my time. I'm gonna have to get up early to see that show. I usually watch the replays.
Oh yeah.
They're always good.
We got Jason Lipsky from the Electric City Music Festival on the show. So I'll be sitting in and watching that conversation go on. But there's plenty of great shows on.
Post the link to the show on my social media, Bob, because I think people would be really interested by the show. It's pretty good.
It's really good. Andy does a great job with that.
Yeah, it's an excellent show. All right, that's it for me tonight. Everybody have a great night. We'll talk to you soon. Next week, next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time.
Be there or suck it.
That's right. Be here or suck it. All right, we'll catch you guys all later. Take care. Bye-bye.